How many calories do you think are in a typical sit-down restaurant meal? There was a study where they averaged 20 meals from sit-down restaurants. So this is like Applebee's, Ruby Tuesday, Outback Steakhouse. They took those meals. Now this does not include drinks, does not include appetizers, and does not include desserts. Share your best guess in the comments. And then at the end of this video, I'll share the correct answer with you. How many calories do you think are in a typical restaurant meal? Well, I'm Sarah with The Holy Mess. I am maintaining a 100-pound weight loss and have been for almost 20 years. And in today's video, you are going to learn some behind the scenes insider secrets for why the food industry does what they do. And these are so important to help you understand how to be a wise consumer in today's world and make weight loss easier and faster because you understand these secrets. Well, today's video is going to be a fun one because I've pulled some things out of my pantry. We are going to take a look at these boxes and bags and what the food industry is doing, both with the food that's in there and with the marketing on the outside of the box, and how you can use that information to lose even more weight. Well, I want to give you some insider info in this video. This is video number 3 in our series about calorie density. And remember that you can download this free guide, which has helpful tips and charts and information. The link is below to make your weight loss faster and easier with the concept of calorie density. Now, before we get started, I want to say, first of all, I'm not a doctor or a nutritionist, so any of this advice is things that have worked really well for me to lose weight and keep it off, and they've worked for hundreds of my readers at The Holy Mess, especially using the 3-day diet that we have there that's free for you to download. If you find these concepts of calorie density helpful, again, remember you can get the free guide, and we even have a meal plan called 7-Day Super Satisfied that uses these concepts to make it really, really easy for you. Everything's done in the meal plan. It has a cookbook, everything that you need. Well, I want to say that when we talk about the food industry, I'm not trying to say that there's some kind of insider conspiracy theory that the food industry is trying to attack us with this food that's unhealthy for us. That's not what I'm trying to say at all. In fact, our food supply is healthier than it has ever been. We have less foodborne illness. We have so many things in place to keep us safe. So we're really blessed. I'm talking here in the United States and other first world countries. I mean, we have access to food. I mean, we're blessed beyond measure. We have access to food in a way that really no other cultures have had, or very few other cultures have had. Even just a couple hundred years ago, people wouldn't have even begun to visualize what we have in today's world. So we really are incredibly blessed to have what we have. But we also have so much, we have in abundance, we have at our fingertips so many foods that are incredibly calorie dense that now we're starting to have the opposite problem. Obesity is on the rise. Obesity-related health conditions are on the rise. So it's our job to be smart consumers. And that is my goal for you in this video, is to help you be a wise consumer. So some of what the food industry is doing today is, well, let me just say this. Why does the food industry do everything they do? How do they go about their marketing? What is their primary goal? The reason why the food industry does anything that they do, offer the foods they do, put the packaging that they do, use the colors that they use the words they use, there's really only one reason. It's to sell more food. Type that in the comments. If I ask you, what is the food industry's job? Their job is to sell more food. Their job is not your health. Their job is not your wellness. Their job is to sell more food. That is true of packaged foods. That is true of grocery store foods. That is true of fast food. That is true of sit-down restaurants. The industry's job is to sell more food, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we need to keep in mind as consumers that that's their job. Their job is to not make us healthier. Their job is even to not help us lose weight. Even if it says it on the package, ultimately their job is to help them sell more food. That's their job. So be aware, be smart, stay awake and cautious when you are making your food choices. And you might be thinking, yeah, I know that's true, but the marketing doesn't influence me. Well, yes, it does. The research shows that the marketing influences all of us. They have done some studies where they have flashed things very quickly on the screen during a research study, like so quickly that you can't even recognize and be cognizant of what is flashed across the screen. Those very quick things will influence what people do later. So you think about things with the food industry where we see it on the package, we see it in a supermarket, we see it as we scroll through our Facebook. Like, it can happen so quickly, but it is definitely influencing us. And also keep in mind that people in the food industry who are scientists, who are doctors, who are market specialists, they are testing every aspect of what is on this box. They are testing the colors, they are testing the fonts, they are testing the size of the fonts, they are testing every single word. So people who are investing thousands or millions of dollars, who have tons of research that they understand, they know what they're doing. So again, that's why it's really important for us to be cautious and aware. And I'm going to give you specific things to look for as we go through this video. So as we start to look at some of these boxes, and you can pull a box out of your pantry. I just pulled some typical boxes that I have in my pantry. There are things on the front of the box. Why are these things on the front of the box? There is a very specific reason. So let's look at this one. I've got some chewy chocolate chip granola bars, which when we start to look at this box, we're going to recognize really these are just candy bars. Pretty much every granola bar, cereal bar is a candy bar. It's not that different than your typical Snickers bar. And they'll add things to it to make it seem even healthier if you're talking about like a protein bar, but you're still basically eating a candy bar. So this one says, made with 100% whole grains, made with no artificial preservatives or colors, no added flavors. That's what's on this box. On this box, it says naturally flavored. It says made with real fruit. These crackers, these multi-grain crackers say seriously deliciously light and tasty texture, no cholesterol. Why does the box say those things? Why does it say no cholesterol? Why does it say made with real fruit? Why does it say no artificial preservatives? There's one reason. I told you earlier. Do you remember what it was? It's to sell more food. Even sometimes things like gluten-free. Yes, that's important, but for people who need to not eat gluten, but the rest of us see that too. And it gives us this subtle, we don't even quite realize it, expectation that this is going to be a healthier food. A big one right now is high in protein, which could be important, but a lot of us are eating way, way, way more protein than we need, and we're still overweight. So all of what's on the front of the box, there's only one reason, it's to sell more food. In fact, this is called the halo effect by the food marketing industry. They know that if they give you indication that this food is healthy for you, that you will think that it's a good choice. So like these, made with real fruit. So what you need to do, let's try this, turn the box around. Anything that's on the front of the box, you don't necessarily want to take very seriously. You want to turn the box around. Anything on the front of the box is to sell more food. The back of the box is where you get the information about what's actually in it. When you read the ingredients, the first ingredient is what is the highest percentage of that food, down to what is the last ingredient is the lowest. So whatever is listed first matters a lot because that's the most of what is in that food. So this says strawberry filling. Think, okay, strawberry filling. But then here's what's in the strawberry filling, sugar. So the number one ingredient in this particular food is sugar. It's not strawberries. It's not real fruit. And notice it doesn't say, it says it's made with real fruit. Okay, so there's some real fruit somewhere in there, but how much of it is real fruit? Well, the first ingredient is sugar. The second ingredient is corn syrup. The third ingredient is strawberry puree. Okay, so the third ingredient down. So the number one ingredient, the most concentrated food in this is sugar. The second most is corn syrup. And then finally, the third ingredient, we get to strawberries. It's a strawberry puree, and what's in that is sugar and glycerin and modified cornstarch. There's not much real fruit in this box. As I said earlier, this is a candy bar, and it has a very long list of ingredients. Something like this with multigrain crackers. We're going to see that it says no cholesterol. That's to sell more food. We're going to turn the box around. The first ingredient is enriched flour, so it's white flour. The second ingredient is oil. The third ingredient is sugar. So that's the highest amount of ingredients, is white flour, oil, and sugar. And then the fourth ingredient, all the way down to the fourth ingredient, is whole wheat flour. So yes, there is whole wheat flour in here, but it's all the way down. And then there's other ingredients. There's high fructose corn syrup, there's cornstarch, corn flour. So again, this isn't really a healthy food. It's a food you can include. If we're looking at our calorie density chart of green, yellow, and red foods, I would put this, I didn't look at it exactly, but it's either very high in yellow or into red. Let's not be confused about what's on the front of the box and think that this is a healthy food. So those are some examples. Type it in the comments, turn the box around. I want you to remember that as you're looking at different boxes, labels, packages. You can take, okay, what's on the front of the box, but you want to turn the box around and look at the ingredients, especially the first couple ingredients, because that's what's most important. The food industry also knows that you are drawn to the highest calorie foods in your environment. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It doesn't mean that you have a willpower problem. This is part of the human condition of having a human body and a human brain and that primitive drive to food. There's nothing wrong with you. This is just logical. This is the way it works. Humans are drawn to the highest calorie food in the environment. God built us this way to help keep us alive. But the food industry knows this, and there is a trifecta of ingredients. It's salt, sugar, and fat. And they use something called the Bliss Point. The Bliss Point is that combination of sugar, salt, and fat. These foods rarely occur together in nature. You'll see it occasionally where a sugar food might be like coconut. It has sweet and it has fat, but it's almost, if you've ever eaten unsweetened coconut, it's not very sweet. It's mostly fat. So rarely do these foods come together in nature, but they come together all the time in our packaged and processed and fast foods. So think about the Bliss Point, and scientists in the food industry know this hits the dopamine center of the brain. So we're not just talking about satisfying hunger, like physical hunger here. We're talking about giving you a really positive effect that makes you feel good. And what is their goal? It's to sell more food. They know when they hit that Bliss Point, you're not just gonna want one, you're gonna want more. And they'll even tell you that in their marketing. Lay's potato chips, can't eat just one. They're telling you right there what they want you to do. They want you to eat the whole bag and then go buy another bag, because their job is to sell more food. So think about like McDonald's French fries. They've got that creamy interior, they're salty, they're crunchy, they're even a little bit sweet because they add sugar. Think about potato chips. They're salty, but they're also sweet and sometimes, and they have the fat. Think about chocolate candy. It's sweet, but oftentimes it's also salty. And of course it has fat. Think about restaurant meals or fast food meals. They're that delicious combination of sweet, salty, fat. And food marketers get it. They know that hits your Bliss Point. As we consider all of this, again, I'm not saying that you can't eat these foods, but you want to be really, really cautious and be aware of the marketing that is driving you to buy more food. Think about your food influences. Is there a way that you could cut some of that down? This has been helpful for me. Can I see less food commercials? Can I have less food influencers in my Facebook and my Instagram? What about cooking shows? I found that those influence me. I love watching British baking. That's one of my favorite shows. But I don't want to sit all day long watching Food Network, because that is going to influence me. That's part of the human condition, that we're driven to food. And if I'm someone who struggles already with my weight, I don't want to make that even harder by watching Food Network all day. What about food magazines? Are there some food influences that you could change? Share about it in the comments. Just even one or two things that could help make this weight loss process easier for you. Because look, friends, it's hard enough. It's challenging enough. Don't make it more hard for yourself by what you're constantly taking in. Okay, let's go back to that original question that I asked you at the beginning of the video. How many calories in the average restaurant meal? The answer is they took 20 meals from sit-down restaurants, and remember, this does not include drinks, does not include desserts, and does not include appetizers. The average meal is 1,500 calories, which for many of us, that's about the calories that we're eating in an entire day. So in conclusion, well, first of all, tell me how you did. How did you do with your answer? And then in conclusion, what is the food industry's job? Their job is to sell more food. You can be a wise consumer, understand why the marketing is the way it is to help you lose more weight and make it faster and easier. I'm Sarah. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.